But make sure you're comfy and warm. If you've got any questions before we start, shout. I think it should make sense as we go. So there will be some active thinking of sites or contemplations in this one. It's the sort of thinking we'll be doing is very directed, so it's very different to that lost, confused, abstract thought that takes up much of our day. So that we can have directed thought. So just come to some sort of groundedness or stillness, and that might be by taking your 5 slow breaths, or that might be by loosening some tension in your body. Might just be focusing on my voice. For these first few moments, we just notice how jumpy the mind is and how it keeps dragging us as the awareness off on a little ride or a journey, and we get lost. So when you notice that, just come back to your focus. Remembering this part of the practice requires some effort, requires a little bit of willpower. But you might start to notice your body gradually softening a little. Notice your breath becoming calmer, longer. More rounded. Just allow any tension you're holding in your face, jaw, neck or shoulders to just melt a little, or just fall down towards the ground. See if you can gently shift this more focused part of the practice into a more soft and effortless mindfulness, which is just that noticing. So we go from a very closed focus, very small area, such as the breath. We gradually start to let that focus expand outwards. Often I imagine it like a small dot of light just gradually growing to become a much larger floodlight that covers all of my experience. And I can't possibly focus on everything. just becomes this sort of blanket field of awareness where I notice sounds, notice sensation, notice thoughts. But it's almost as if they all sit equally, all at the same distance from me. Or maybe it's no distance at all. Maybe they're all equally inside. And what you'll find is every now and then you get tugged out, or it feels as if you get drawn towards one object. That's normally a thought or a feeling or emotion. It can be a sound or a pain in the body. When you notice that happen, just imagine that you're resting back or you're falling back away from it, softening your grip. Allowing that tiny point of light just to expand back out into this floodlight that covers everything. So now we're just going to begin our contemplation. So what we're going to do first is start at the beginning of our day. So you could even start with this morning as an example. And usually we notice all of the things that go wrong in our day. Maybe we can't find our keys, we've misplaced our phone, or someone changes the time of a meeting, or something else that is an inconvenience. But for this practice, we're just going to notice that 99% of our day actually goes pretty well, almost perfectly. But because it does, we never notice it. Just like we never really notice our car until the engine stops running, or the washing machine till it breaks down. We never notice things when they're working smoothly. We only notice when they don't. So go to the very start of your day, from the moment that you woke up. And the first thing that we might be grateful or thankful for, that we always overlook, is that we woke up again. Even if you woke up in the middle of the night, you actually had some really quiet precious time there with no other distractions. I often wake up in the middle of the night and I use that time to do some practice. But whenever you woke up, you did wake up again. You get another precious day to play with. When normally we wake up and the first thing that comes into mind is all the things we've got to do. We never take that one breath just to say thank you for another day, even if we don't know who we're saying thank you to. The next thing, we might open our eyes. And we notice we can see still. Our eyes are still working. There are a lot of people who never will see, or never have seen, or have lost their sight, but hopefully we open our eyes and ours are still working well. But of course we overlook that. But yet, if you were blind, it would be the most precious thing you could ever wish for. Just to be able to see something. For some people that would even be just to be able to see light or dark would be absolutely amazing. This real precious gift, completely overlooked. Our breath is still moving, and it's been working on our behalf all night long whilst we rested. And for some people, they would have been awake all night, struggling to breathe with asthma or another condition. If we were lucky, hopefully our breath went totally unnoticed and we wake up and it's still ticking away. Because it's working so well, we just forget what a gift it is. So this practice isn't about feeling guilty in any way at all. If you feel any sort of guilty feelings creeping in, they're not useful. That's not what this practice is about. You can just let go of those. Come back to just nurturing this really positive feeling of abundance or gratitude for everything we have. So spend the next few minutes on your own just going through maybe that first hour of the day in detail. Noticing all the things that you normally don't notice, that there's running water, food in the cupboards, toothpaste, etc., etc. Try to be as detailed as you can in your remembering, because if not, you'll get swept away back into abstract thinking. And each time you notice feeling of gratitude, just breathe that in and allow that to grow. Now we're just going to shift into the second part of the practice. So if you've drifted off into random thinking, that's fine. Just bring your attention back to my voice. And for this part of the practice, we're just going to see that we can almost always find something to be grateful for in any situation. So, for example, this morning we might have been really tired if you've got up to practice at this time. Might have been a bit irritated, but you had enough willpower to get out of bed, turn your phone or your laptop on. But then we all have that gratitude that we get to sit with 30 other lovely people who've done exactly the same. And are doing something really positive for themselves and no doubt for everyone else around them that they live with or work with. Because as part of your practice, you will just become more grounded, much easier person to be around. So you might find something now in your life that's just a little bit of a bugbear or a irritation or a worry. Something that's just on your mind, something that's happened even, that didn't seem to go really with how you wanted or how you want things to be. Doesn't seem to fit with your internal master plan. And we see that actually just because it's our master plan there are too many pieces involved for us to just decide how life is going to be in any way. So we sort of have to roll with it. But somewhere in that thing that's irritating us or not going to plan, we'll also be able to find something to be grateful for if we dig deep or look a bit harder. Can you draw one positive, one thing to be thankful for out of that situation? And if you can draw it out of this one situation, you might notice that today you can draw a positive out of other similar situations where it feels like things aren't going right or aren't going well. And that's how this practice really starts to infiltrate and work in our day-to-day life. When we notice that we are judging something negatively, but there's just this little glimmer or moment where we see that actually everything is pretty much okay. Even if we've just got the next breath, we've got everything that we need in that moment. We might just be able to let go of those things that seem to be so dominant in our day, and actually they're just a tiny part. So allow your breath to just come back to your attention. It might become slightly more active or slightly deeper as it just slowly works its way down through your body, filling your arms, hands, legs and feet. Turning to that awareness of the space around you, ground underneath you. And slowly feeling some gentle movement maybe coming back to your wrists, ankles, just in your own time. Might take a little stretch, rub your hands together, rub your face, whatever feels useful for you. Good. I hope that was useful in some way. Can be a really challenging practice, so if you found it very hard, know that that's perfectly normal. Bit like the compassion one, there's, sometimes positive emotions are very hard to conjure up, but will. But it's one that's useful to come back to, I'd say, and certainly in your day Just try to notice the things. I mean, if we went through our day like mentally ticking off everything that went well, we would never get anything done. Be like, so far this morning, I woke up, I could see, I could breathe. I made a cup of tea. I had electricity, water, a mug, a kettle, tea bags, oat milk, electric. The laptop turned on and worked. The camera worked. The lights worked. 30 people turned up, so I wasn't sitting on my own, and I just got to see all these lovely other faces. I mean, that's a pretty good first half hour to my day. And and I would overlook every single part of that. So we probably can't realistically go through every single second doing that, but at any moment we can stop and take stock of what is fine, especially when we're getting sucked into what isn't fine or what we imagine isn't fine. That's when it can be very beneficial. Um, yeah. Anyway, I hope it was useful.